This video is part of a series. This is series 1. And the title of this video is Tough Love and Your Computer. We're going to be talking about 3 different things in this series. And the 3 different things are computer safety in your home. The second is computer safety online. And the third part is get your computer to work good online and faster, and clean it and speed it up. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Locascio, and I help people maintain their computer and repair their computer. And thank God you're here for lesson 1, because we want to keep you safe in your house with your computer. You know, electronics can be funny at times, and you know, sometimes you have electronics plugged in and it's not safe. If your computer is at home, make sure you turn it off when you're not using it. If you go out for the day, make sure it's completely shut down. Don't do this, when I click my mouse, it's going to go on. Don't do this, have it on, but the screen is off. You know, try to avoid those settings. And just remember to shut it down completely. Okay? I've heard some very bad stories, and I've seen some very bad things happen when people leave their laptops on and they go out and they think it's okay to leave it on. But I can tell you that it's not safe. And I hope it never happened to you, but I've seen batteries catch on fire and things like that can happen. So that's the thing I want to talk about next. If your battery gets really hot on your laptop, you need to change it right away. Change it right away and go to Amazon or eBay, and for $10 or $12, type in your model number and get a new battery, because it's not worth starting a fire in your house because of that, and jeopardizing your home and your family. So for $10 or $12, replace that. That's one really good tip that I have to give you, because a lot of people will leave their computers on days at a time, and they'll be running, and they may be on vacation, or they may be out for the whole day. And although your hard drive's not running at full force, and your screen is not running full, these parts are getting hot, okay, and they warm up. And you know, why take the chance of running your hard drive for 24 hours or 16 hours for no reason at all? Okay, so that's one thing. Now, if you want to access your data from your computer, you can save data to the cloud for free, and you can access it there if that's a need you have. And that's totally free for up to a certain amount of data. So look into putting data on the cloud, because that's a way safer way to do things. Okay, number 2, if you have a desktop computer, make sure your fans are clean. You know, dust from your house, cigarette smoke, your desktop not being in an area where it's getting ventilation. These fans get clogged up with dust, and you can even take a vacuum and clean them out if you want. But just get the dust off of the fans in the back and the fans on the CPU, which is in the center of your motherboard. Now, one thing I have to tell you, when you do that, don't let the fan spin. Keep your finger on the fan, and with the other hand, suck it up if you're using a vacuum. You don't want that fan to spin, because you don't want it to spin faster than it's supposed to, because it can damage the fan. And most importantly, the big fan in the middle, your CPU fan, make sure you hold that, and you get the dust out of the heat sink and inside, because that's what cools your processor down, and you don't want a real hot processor. And also make sure these fans are working, okay? Because if your fans in your desktop computer are not working, then your computer can overheat. And there's 2 enemies of a computer. One is heat, and one is water or liquid. Now, if you're using a laptop, let's say, in your house or your office, try not to keep drinks nearby, because water or coffee or juice can spill on your keyboard, and it can eat away at your motherboard. And believe me, it's hard to repair. Most of the time you can't repair it, you have to replace everything. Okay? So don't drink around your computer, and try not to smoke around your computer. And if you do, make sure you have a fan running, and make sure you keep up with taking care of your fans. I've seen people in my 20-something years of working on computers where their fans were so clogged up. I mean, their house could have burnt down at any time, and that's not an exaggeration, because if your fans are so clogged up and you don't know it, and your computer's on day and night, that dust can catch on fire. Okay, and this was in a setting where they homeschool their children, and they take in children to homeschool, and to me that's a big red flag. I mean, first you're gonna put your own children in jeopardy, but then you're gonna put someone else's children in jeopardy. Most people don't think about it, but you have to clean the fans of your desktop and make sure those fans are running, and make sure your laptop is not running that hot. And if your laptop runs hot, you can get a cooling pad that goes underneath it. If it's not your battery that the problem is. So if it's your battery, replace the battery. If the laptop just gets hot in general, spend $20 and get a cooling pad. It sits underneath the laptop, plugs into the USB, and it will cool the laptop down. You don't want to, you don't want to run a computer that gets real hot. Your computer will last a long time if it doesn't overheat. So as I said before, heat and liquid are the enemies of a computer. One is spilling things near it, because electronics will not last if you get like grape juice on your motherboard. Believe me, it'll eat away everything. And you could lose your information also if you have important information. And another thing is, make sure you back up your information. If you're running a business from your home, if you have a business, whether it's 0 to 100 people or 500 people, you need to do backups, and you need to have a backup in place. Because when you go out, and you come in your office the next morning, or you turn your computer on in your house and you run a business from home and your computer don't start, there's a good possibility that you won't be able to get your information. And if you can get to it by data recovery, that can be very expensive. So another great tip is make sure you have a backup. If you have anything important on your computer, get an external hard drive, back everything up to it, get a USB pen drive. They're very cheap now. Plug it to the side of the USB port on your computer, save your children's pictures, save your business information, whatever it is. So if your computer does crash, okay, you will still have these items, and you won't have to worry about losing them. There's a lot of stories I've heard, and I've even been involved in, people that lost their children at birth or a few years later, and they brought the computer to me and they want me to try to get this stuff off. Now, thank God that I've been pretty successful at saving it, but some cases you cannot save it. You have to spend thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars and go to a data recovery expert to get this information, if it's possible to get. So for $25, $50, or $100, back up your stuff. And another thing I like to tell people is, there's no need for you to keep a million videos on your computer, or hundreds of videos, hundreds of photos, all this old stuff that you don't need. Your computer will work better if you save this stuff to disks, if you save it to USB or an external hard drive. So if you have a lot of things on your computer, everybody says, well, I got a 2 terabyte hard drive, or I got a terabyte hard drive, or a 4 terabyte hard drive. Well, that just means you have a lot of area for storage. But that does not mean it's not going to slow your computer down, because I can tell you, as a computer professional, the more stuff you have on your hard drive will slow down in time. Okay? I've seen people that have, a couple gigs left. Their whole hard drive is full and the whole computer is running so slow. Take everything off your computer. If you're logging a lot of videos, save them offline, save them to the cloud, save them to a USB drive. Any of this stuff that's on your computer and you have a lot of stuff on it, don't keep it on there. Save it, okay? Just keep what you need on and your computer will run better, okay? Now, when I talk about, in the next episode, I will be talking about online safety. And when I get into that, I'll be talking about other things. But for now, I want to leave you with these tips about home safety. Number one, as I said, you're not using your computer, you're not home, turn it off. Another important thing, if your computer gets hot, make sure you change the battery or get a cooling pad for it. Tip number three, if your fans are dirty on your desktop, make sure you clean them time to time and don't spill anything next to your laptop. That's another thing. Try not to eat or smoke next to it unless you have proper ventilation. So that's all as far as that goes. And I can tell you that a computer that runs cool is going to be a computer that will last long and it will perform good. So you need to keep your computer in a cool environment, not a real hot place, not in a little cubby hole with the wires coming out to your keyboard and your mouse and your screen. A computer desktop needs to be in a well-ventilated area. And if possible, put something on underneath the desktop to lift it up so air can circulate not only through the fans, but also on the bottom of the case and all around it. So I want to thank you for watching part one of this safety video on tough love for your computer. This is Mike Locascio, and I will see you in the next segment. Thank you for watching.